What actor is the most guilty of playing the same exact character in every film? Mark Wahlberg, always the uneducated but charming common man. Steven Seagal, playing Steven Seagal in movie called Steven Seagal. Michelle Rodriguez, always played the tough military chick. Katherine Heigl, an uptight, controlling, workaholic, but learns to be a little more easygoing by the end. Kevin James, The Rock. He's an ex-military police that is now a butterfly collector. But then he has to save the world. What is a movie you find terrible but critics seem to love? Girl on the Third Floor. I don't understand how this giant piece of shit has 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water. Fucking 81% RT score with a 54% audience score. If you want a SpongeBob movie, watch the original 2005 movie. Infinitely better. Shakespeare in Love. Not me but my dad. He absolutely hates Snowpiercer, but it's got fantastic ratings and a great director. Even after rewatching, he still just doesn't get into it. I'll admit the first time I watched it with him I wasn't huge on it either, but I've rewatched it many times and it's one of my favorite films now. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. I'm glad I'm not crazy for not knowing what exactly to make of the movie. If you hated the movie on your first watch, I recommend rewatching because it seems lots of people changed their minds after it. ITT, people conflating movies that are popular with movies critics love. Argo. Not because it was necessarily a badly made movie, but because it willfully rewrote real-world history to make America look like the sole heroes. The British and New Zealand embassies did not turn the American embassy workers away. The British embassy took them in, at great risk mind you, but transferred them to the Canadian embassy since they could more easily pass for Canadians. And the British embassy was in a dangerous location already. The New Zealand embassy took similar risks. The actual Americans who were rescued made extensive comments at the time stating displeasure over how the actual situation was depicted, since it was, well, bullshit. And don't get me started on U-571. At least that movie was the box office bomb it deserved to be, since it straight up replaced the British Navy, who recovered the Enigma machine with the US Navy. They got so much heat over it that they just lazily shoved a disclaimer at the end saying pretty much actually it was the British Navy who captured the machine, but oh well, to save face. The bloody US wasn't even in the war when the events depicted happened. Winning an argument against a genius is hard. Winning an argument against an idiot is impossible. How did you learn this the hard way? Once worked with a guy who, by his own admission, would only pick arguments to get his jollies. Dude once tried to pick a fight over the weather forecast. Nice day, isn't it? Quote. Yeah, well, my app says 60% chance of showers. What the fuck are you doing? The saying it's a nice day when it's going to rain. Quote. Relax, dude. I was just making conversation. Oh, so now you're trying to change the subject because I've confronted you with the truth. Quote. I just stopped talking to him. During my second year calculus class, one got really lost on one topic and went to the professor for help. I explained my reasoning and what I did. He took a look and started making notes, looking more and more concerned as he went. Eventually he said, "Aha, you made two mistakes that coincidentally canceled out. Thank God." For a second there I thought I was going to have to co-author a paper with you. I love the fact that he teaches math at the university level, and for 1 second believed that some dumbass undergrad had discovered something unknown to math. That is why he is a genius, and one of my favorite all-time professors. He does not believe he is infallible, unlike idiots who can't believe they are wrong. I worked retail. The time he proved me wrong, I accepted the new information, apologized and moved on. The time I proved him wrong, he blocked me. by commenting on social media, especially Reddit. My fucking mother-in-law. When presented with literal facts, she says, "I just don't believe that. Your username has been made into a multi-billion-dollar movie. What's it about? A period piece about a modest nobleman who is called upon to use his supernatural virility to restore the dwindling population of his small farming community. Scandinavian clown-cowboy hybrids. Bananas being liberated. Crippling depression. Hashtag pirate dogs. The greatest Sith Lord in all of Star Wars. Redditors who have actually gotten married. How did you get your spouse's ring size without making them get suspicious? You could take a ring of hers and get it sized. Or you could straight up ask her. The fact you're proposing shouldn't be a surprise anyway. When and how you propose can be a surprise. But when discussing getting married, you could easily say, well, if I'm going to propose, I'll need to know your ring size. It doesn't have to be complicated. First, know you can buy it larger and have it sized down. Most jewelry stores will do that for free. Second, take him out to buy a necklace or a bracelet. While out, either direct or better get jewelry store employee to direct a ring section to try something on. Also, if he already knows, and he probably will, the employee can ask without it looking suspicious. Mr. Bunny and I had discussed marriage already. I knew he was going to propose, but I didn't know when or how. So we went ring shopping and I tried on rings and got sized and showed him some that I really liked. He ultimately picked my ring himself, but he knew what I liked, so he picked a beautiful ring that I absolutely love. Here's a great quote that I love. The proposal should be a surprise, but getting engaged shouldn't be. Even though I knew he was going to propose, he absolutely shocked me when it happened. He came to my work while I was at lunch. I was a preschool teacher. He made signs that said, "Will you marry me?" and all my kids held them up. I was stunned and could barely say yes when he asked me. Ha ha ha. Just suck on her finger and keep your mouth in the same position until you get to the jewelry store. Edit. Thank you for the awards and upvotes. My award cherry has been officially popped. I got novelty hers Legends of Zelda rings for both of us and got lucky hers was a perfect fit, which made it easy to purchase the engagement ring a few months later. I told my husband my ring size. Getting engaged should not come as a surprise to your partner. The day you propose should be a surprise. How you propose should be a surprise. The fact you are going to propose eventually and that you want to marry this person absolutely should not be a surprise. You should be talking about your intent to get married and what that married life might look like. From life goals, to children, to religion, to finances, to work and housework, to where you will live, all of that long before you pop the question. You should also be talking to your partner about the ring long before you get engaged. Maybe she doesn't want a massive solitaire stone. Maybe she does. Maybe she wants a platinum ring instead of yellow gold. Maybe she has a family heirloom she'd prefer. Asterisk, this is a ring she will be wearing every single day on her hand for the rest of her life. Asterisk. What it looks like will matter to her. So if you are thinking of proposing to your partner, you should just talk to her about what she wants. Who are some badasses in history that school didn't teach you about? King Sejong of ancient Korea was so tired of the Chinese-style writing. So he said, "Fuck this shit," and devised an entirely new form of writing that led to the modern Korean Hangul. Not the badass you all were probably thinking of, but the man was a genius for this. Joe Medicine Crow was the last Native American to completed all 4 tasks required to become a war chief: touching an enemy without killing him. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/counting_coup. Counting coup. Taking an enemy's weapon, leading a successful war party, and stealing an enemy's horse. He did this during WW2. He died about 4 years ago. Age 102. Gotta go with the Berserker of Stamford Bridge. A giant Norse axeman who apparently slaughtered about 40 English soldiers and held up their entire army himself, and was only killed when one soldier snuck under the bridge and impaled him, presumably in the groin. Lapu-Lapu. History books often cite Magellan's death with a passing sentence like "died in Southeast Asia while circumnavigating the world," but Filipinos know he was killed in the Philippines by Lapu-Lapu in the Battle of Mactan. When Magellan landed in the Philippines, he made a deal with a neighboring king, Humabon, that if Magellan took care of a rival chief on the other side of the island, Humabon would swear fealty to the King of Spain. Magellan had no idea he was being used. Magellan initially offered not to attack Lapu-Lapu if he bowed to both Humabon and the King of Spain. Lapu-Lapu refused, and Magellan marched over with his heavily armed and armored men and was thoroughly thrashed by hundreds of Filipino warriors with swords. Lapu-Lapu is now a national symbol against Western colonization, but I don't think anyone in the U.S. is keen to put him in a textbook. John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill also went by Jack Churchill, Fighting Jack Churchill, and Mad Jack. This wondrous British officer carried around a long bow and arrow and a Scottish longsword during WW2. To top that all off, he also had some bagpipes. Edit. Spelling. Leo Major. Canadian hero who liberated an entire Dutch city in WW2 single-handedly. Honestly, Canadians seem all polite, but as soon you in war with them, you dead. Subscribe, my brothers.